And I'll tell you, you all have had a high school experience that has been unlike any other. You have, starting your freshman year all the way, your sophomore year being gone, and then last year trying to get back, and this year we've been working really hard to make sure that you've had a normal school year. So we are actively working on your graduation. We are actively working on making sure that you have one of the best proms ever. And so when you get back from winter break, the spring semester is going to go by really fast, and I'll be happy to hand all of you your diplomas at commencement this coming May. So give yourself a round of applause for all of that. It's been a lot for you. So today, we're going to just share a little bit about what it means to be a Wildcat. And I am going to ask Mr. David Futransky, who is the Executive Director of the Alumni Association here at Evanston Township High School, to come and greet you and to share a little bit about what we're going to do this morning. Mr. Futransky?
Good morning. Oh, come on. Good morning, class of 23. By my count, you have 157 days, calendar days, until you graduate. Less than half a year, and you become alumni as well. I graduated Evanston Township High School in 1969, and it is great to be able to see this auditorium full of members of the senior class. This has traditionally been the first assembly for the senior class as seniors, and you are part of a tradition that goes back almost 140 years. In 2023, ETHS will be 140 years old. We've been in this building at Church and Dodge for 98 years. And 2 years from now, there'll be a big celebration of our centennial being over here. You're about to join a group of 85,000 alumni, of whom 65,000 are living. We've celebrated our distinguished alumni for 20 years. The west end of the H hallway, outside of what's the radio and TV studio, there are plaques on the walls. Those plaques, when we add this year's honorees, there'll be 103 people out of the 85,000 who went here who have done something with their career to merit being up on that wall. There's 7 stories you're going to hear today. 3 of our honorees are with us. The families of the other 4 will respond this evening. There are 5 student presenters on the stage. 3 of them were on a committee that made the selections this year. We had close to 100 files that we went through. The committee is made up of students, alumni, past and present faculty, and community leaders. From those files, we came down with the stories and the people that we're going to honor today. Student speakers have interviewed them, have spoken with them, have met with them, and have gotten information so that I hope you're going to hear some good stories as we go along. Our first presenter is going to be Sophie Glantz.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Sophie Glantz, and I'm a senior at ETHS. I have the honor to introduce you all to Ellen Rosenblum. Ellen graduated from Evanston in 1968 and is a graduate of the University of Oregon and the University of Oregon School of Law. Ellen is a lawyer and politician who has served as the first female state attorney general in Oregon and previously was a judge on the Oregon Court of Appeals. She has spent her life fighting for and protecting the people of Oregon. Under her leadership, Ellen spent her time protecting people from unlawful trade practices, internet crimes against children, modernizing laws on privacy and data breach, protecting crime victims, and is at the forefront of the fight against opioid abuse. On top of all of that, Ellen has been the recipient of numerous honors and awards, too many to list in this speech. With all that recognition for the outstanding accomplishments she has had, we are adding another one to her books today. I feel so lucky to have gotten the opportunity to learn about Ellen's career and the inspiring person she is. Ellen explained to me that becoming an attorney general was never a part of her plan, but she got the opportunity and is forever grateful to have taken that risk. She shared, if something comes along and seems like an opportunity, you should grab it. Her story is a great guidance for anyone and is especially inspiring as the journey began here in Evanston. She was raised with 7 siblings in her family who were also involved at ETHS. While at ETHS, she was on the speech team and competed with her poetry as well as in school productions. It has been a great honor to get to know Ellen and learn about everything she's accomplished. Without further ado, we welcome Ellen Rosenblum.
Thank you. Wow. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Sophie. That was such a nice introduction, and she even gave me a present. Good morning. Superintendent Campbell, Principal Kinsey, faculty, students, family and friends. It's a great day to be a Wild Kid. Yay! So as an amateur singer, I'm tempted to start with the ETHS Wild Kids fight song to prove my bona fides here, but I'm going to spare you unless it doesn't count against my speaking time. Wow, it is so wonderful to be with all of you here in this school that is so much more than a building to all of us who have attended ETHS. In preparing for today, I was reminded that originally constructed in 1924, this is the largest high school facility under one roof in the United States. So to be in this space again is really nothing short of amazing. After a few reunions and a lot of drive-bys on my way to visit my family here in Evanston over the years. What I remember most clearly about when I arrived as a freshman at ETHS in 1964 is not only how huge this place felt, but how challenging it was compared to junior high school. We didn't call it middle school back then. Way more students, 5,000 at the time, tougher classes, so many choices, and so much competition. If it's true, as I believe it is, that high school provides some of our key building blocks in life, I'd say ETHS did 2 things for me. It made me more resilient, and it gave me confidence in my speaking and performance skills. In fact, I got to perform right here on this stage in a number of high school musicals, so this really feels very warm and fuzzy to me. But both of those qualities, resilience and that confidence, are qualities that are essential to anyone in public life today. So I gravitated, as Sophie said, in high school to music and speech contests, getting a few leading roles in the famed musicals under Mr. Ditton. Do any of you remember Mr. Ditton? Oh my gosh, he came to our reunion recently. And I also remember how fun it was traveling around the state with a speech team with a focus on poetry. But truly, it is the lifelong friendships I made and the pride in having attended the largest and one of the most diverse high schools in the country that I have carried with me these 54 years, and that informs my support today for public education and equity and inclusion in both my efforts as the leader of a large state agency, the Oregon Department of Justice, and in my policy work in the civil and criminal justice arenas. The organizers of today's event asked me to share with you briefly what I'm working on as Attorney General, although Sophie did a very good job. I'm considered by our statutes to be the chief law officer for my state. And your Attorney General, Kwame Raoul, who's a very good friend, has that same role. So the office that I run is in essence the largest law firm in the state. And we advise state agencies and boards and commissions of state government. But I actually prefer to think of myself as the people's lawyer, and sometimes even the mama bear, advocating for the most vulnerable among us who don't otherwise get an amplified legal voice. So my true and favorite constituents are children and families, seniors, immigrants and refugees, victims and survivors of crime, and of course, students, who are too often saddled by significant education-related debt. So much of what I do on behalf of these folks, whether it's consumer protection, addressing the climate crisis, or the many other forms that injustice takes, that's what I get to do every day. My office sues big companies when they mistreat our people. We've gotten hundreds of millions of dollars for the people of our state, and Kwame has as well for Illinois, from the big enterprises that manufactured, marketed, and distributed opioids. We made Volkswagen pay us tens of millions of dollars for lying about their vehicle emissions, and we've created new protections for students borrowing for college. So I could go on, but it seems that closing with a word of wisdom is expected, right? So the one bit of advice I can offer is this: follow your passions. Try out lots of things, and don't underestimate the importance of making connections and building relationships. And don't worry if you don't know what you want to do when it comes to your future. This is an exciting time for all of you. It would be surprising if you knew what you wanted to do now, but there's also a good chance that if you did know, or you thought you knew, that it would end up being different from your current plans anyway, what you ultimately end up with. So looking back, I can most definitely say that ETHS served me well as preparation for my life of public service. I continue to enjoy it, and I wish each and every one of you much fulfillment in your personal and professional lives. Thank you for this truly special and memorable honor that I'm receiving today, along with a wonderful group of honorees. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Tyler Alexander, and today I'll be introducing two Evanston Township alumni that were nominated for the Distinguished Alumni Award. Dr. Alvin Keith was a member of the class of 1941. During his time at ETHS, he displayed rare athleticism as a track and field athlete, setting the state long jump record of almost 24 feet that stood for over 20 years. He also broke the school's 50-yard dash record with a time of 6 seconds flat. He was not merely an athlete, though. He was also an activist. He and a few of his track teammates united and threatened to boycott the track team if the school did not allow for people of color to join the football team. He was successful in his efforts and became one of the first black football players at ETHS. His merit continued after high school when he enrolled in Xavier University in New Orleans. When he was forcibly removed from a bus for refusing to sit in the back, he moved back home and attended Loyola University as a pre-med student. When World War II began, Dr. Keith volunteered to be part of the first group of all-black military airmen known as the Tuskegee Airmen, who were awarded the Congressional Gold Medal in March of 2007 by President Bush. They are awarded the highest civilian recognition because they, quote, inspired revolutionary reform in the armed forces. After the war, he built his own practice from the ground up to support his family. His family said that if he was still with us today, he would tell us the same things he used to tell them: to persevere when you think you can't, and that hard work makes you capable of achieving anything you can dream of. On behalf of ETHS, I present the family of Dr. Alvin Keith the Distinguished Alumni Award in honor of his lifelong fight against injustice. I now have the privilege of introducing a woman named Florence Frye Winfield, part of the class of 1944. Because of her academic abilities and love for helping people, she decided to pursue a career in medicine. She wanted to be a nurse at first, but then was pushed by her grandfather to become a doctor, so she did. She earned her Doctor of Medicine degree from the University of Madison and joined a private practice in Evanston soon after. Aside from the health of her patients, her top priority was forming deep connections. She worked at the practice for 17 years while simultaneously volunteering at the Near North Health Center in Chicago. Her presence at Near North was so important to the patients' families that they would walk her to her car after every night to ensure that she was safe. The impact she had on the community was so vast that the clinic she worked at was renamed in her honor, along with a close colleague. It is now known as the Winfield Moody Health Center. She was then sought out by the Children's Memorial Hospital to become a pediatrician at one of their clinics where she worked for 23 years treating children. At home, Dr. Winfield was described to be a woman of love and compassion who in her free time spent her time expanding her grandchildren's curiosity by letting them help her plant flowers in the garden, set up fish tanks, and build trains. She taught them valuable life lessons about helping those in need without hesitation because we're, quote, here to help people. Her granddaughter told me that if she was still with us today, she would love to see more people of color in the medical field so that some kids would be able to see themselves becoming the angels that the world needs. Dr. Winfield's legacy of dedication and service to the Evanston, Chicago community has compelled the ETHS Alumni Association to honor her legacy by awarding her the Distinguished Alumni Award. Thank you.
Hello, class of 2023. My name is Yishuan Liu, and please allow me to say a few words about the next honoree, Austin Tao, who had graduated from ETHS in 1961 and now is an outstanding architectural landscape architect. Mr. Tao came to ETHS during his freshman year mid-semester when his parents moved to Evanston from the south side of Chicago. At that time, Mr. Tao had only been in the country for 4 years coming from Hong Kong. Being put in a new environment is difficult, and it's no different for Mr. Tao. However, he enjoyed many sports and was comfortable with math. One summer, Mr. Tao saved a 6-year-old at Lee Street Beach. He might not have been a perfect student, but he was a courageous and caring person. During his time here, his art class teacher encouraged him to try architectural design, which set the baseline for his career today. With teachers' encouragement and his own dedication, Mr. Tao dedicated himself to landscape architecture over 40 years and has designed over 4,000 projects, including planning a new town for 500,000 people in Handan, China. In addition, Mr. Tao is the national president of the Organization of Chinese Americans, aimed at fighting injustice for all Pacific Asian Americans. He's also bestowed as the National Fellow of the Society, which is the highest award as a distinguished landscape architect. The Distinguished Alumni Award recognizes graduates of ETHS who exemplify the excellence fostered at ETHS, and Mr. Tao has most undoubtedly succeeded that criteria. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Austin Tao.
Thank you, Yishuan, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, wild kids. Good morning, seniors. It's great to be back at ETHS. Of course, at my age, I'm glad to be invited to anywhere. But seriously, wow, wow, wow. What a beautiful campus you have here. Look at all the wonderful facilities and resources you have at your disposal. Schools are finally making learning meaningful and fun. You may not fully realize it now, but I guarantee you, someday, you will realize how special the school is and the impact on you. I guarantee it. One of the things I was asked to talk about was some of my Evanston Township experiences. To be honest, My years here were not that good. Uh-oh, I think Dr. Campbell is getting a bit nervous now. Let me share my story. I came to this country when I was 10 years old without any English language skills. 4 years later, my family moved to Evanston from the south side of Chicago. I entered ETHS as a freshman. Now you begin to get this picture that I was not your stereotypical Asian student. I felt very inadequate as a student, always being behind in my studies. I was shy and felt socially awkward because I cannot communicate and express myself like everyone else. Therefore, I didn't have a chance to develop close friends. Having girlfriends or going to the prom was not even in the equation. Obviously, I was not a star athlete either. So based on my ETHS profile, I would be the most unlikely candidate before you standing here before you this morning to get this award. So what did ETHS do for me? And how did it make a difference? Basically, ETHS rescued me and refused to give up on me. A few good teachers understood and used the power of gentle encouragement. I struggled and failed many, many times. Failure teaches humility and humbleness. Failure teaches self-forgiveness. Struggle teaches problem solving. Struggle teaches how to focus and be honest with yourself. Failures and struggles are valuable lessons on how to survive by keep on trying and not to give up. That's what I learned from ETHS. After graduating, I was able to go to the University of Illinois and later on to the University of Oregon, where I received my Master's of Landscape Architecture. So my message today is for all of you, but especially to those not so average students like I was. Don't be discouraged with setbacks and failures. And most importantly, learn how to struggle from your struggles and don't give up trying. My other message is for those excellent teachers, is to seek out those not so average students and give a dose of that gentle encouragement every once in a while. It can go a long way and make a difference. Congratulations to all of you. Each one of you is already a success story. Congratulations to what you have achieved and accomplished. You will soon be taking the most exciting journey of your life. Enjoy and have fun on that journey. It is the life experiences of the journey that really count, not necessarily the destinations. Along the way, I hope you will remember ETHS with honor and pride. Thank you so much for this award and honor. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Jacob Hall, and I have the honor of introducing two honorees as well. The first of which was a social worker, activist, and true matriarch, a woman who throughout her life defied all odds and injustices, the physical embodiment of the glue that holds us together and a force to be reckoned with for any opposition. It's my pleasure to introduce Helen Cromer Cooper. Ms. Cooper lived a truly extraordinary life. She was a pioneering black female Northwestern student during a time when gaining admission required women to be in the top 25% of their class. She was one of only 20 African American students in the Northwestern's class of 1931. At just 22 years old, Ms. Cooper began an internship with future Nobel Peace Prize winner and American Settlement House founder Jane Addams. She participated in the March on Washington led by Dr. King and became central to the desegregation of Evanston's elementary schools. Ms. Cooper held many titles: lifetime NAACP member, YWCA member, assistant regional representative of the Bureau of Public Assistance, and countless more throughout her lifelong civic engagement. But her most important titles were mother, grandmother, aunt, and so on. The prototypical humanitarian, Ms. Cooper cared for all people, especially her family. With a smile that never faded, this charismatic, loving head of family's presence brought everyone together, whether that was holiday dinner at her house with her famous eggnog, or her Sunday visits to each and every niece and nephew well into her 90s. For all those reasons and more, we're honoring her today. The quintessential human being, Helen Cromer Cooper was and forever lives on as a notable alumni and hometown hero. I also have the pleasure of introducing a second honoree, one who is many things: a dean, a coach, a professional athlete, and a family man. An individual who blurred the lines between strictly civic and family engagement and just truly cared about everyone who crossed his path. This man possessed the uncanny ability to make you feel as though you were the center of the universe, make you feel loved, special, and remind you you're not alone. Tonight, we're honoring the one and only BMW. Now, for those of you who may be unfamiliar with the Gentle Giant's nickname, BMW stands for Big Mike Wynn. And standing at 6'6" with NFL-sized hands and a size 15 shoe, he is more than worthy of the name. Now, despite his overbearing physical appearance, Mr. Wynn radiated such an energy that made others gravitate towards him. A warm, genuine friendliness that's hard to find these days. ETHS's athletic director, Chris Livatino, said, "Coach Wynn was a man's man, who had compassion and kindness and genuinely wanted to help make us better men with those same qualities." Mr. Wynn believed that as the proper way to live and later instilled those values into his 4 children. Now, Mr. Wynn was a professional wide receiver, dean of students, multi-sport coach, and member of many organizations. However, his most notable achievement was born from the unforeseen, tragic passing of his son, Justin. From a loss that rocked the entire community, Mr. Wynn founded the Justin Wynn Memorial Foundation to honor and remember his son and acknowledge and promote the traits instilled in Justin. Mr. Wynn turned a personal tragedy into a form of community outreach, empowerment, and celebration, one that touched the lives of many and still continues to do so. When asked how to fill the position of president of the Justin Wynn Board, Mike responded, "The only thing you have to remember is it's all about the kids. They need to know there's someone there for them and with them to help them succeed. And today we're gathered to let him know we're here for him and with him too." It's my honor to present this Distinguished Alumni Award to the family of Mike Wynn on behalf of Evanston Township High School. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Ahanya Soni. I'm a senior here at ETHS. It's impossible for any of us to imagine living in a war-torn country. It's even more unbelievable to imagine someone choosing to go to those countries during times of turmoil and incessant violence in order to help people that they've never met. But that's exactly what Carly Kupferberg does on a daily basis. Just 20 years ago, in 2003, Kupferberg was an ETHS senior, just like all of us. It was the age of flip phones and the early years of social media, but Kupferberg still experienced relatively the same ETHS. In high school, she surrounded herself with a diverse group of people and tried to learn about many different paths she could take in her life. Her experiences in English and history classes here gave her the foundational knowledge to understand modern conflicts, insurgencies, and wars in countries around the world, many of which she would end up working in later in life. Her time here helped her develop her independence, a trait which would become crucial as she stepped into the world and began making difficult decisions. After she completed her education, Kupferberg began her humanitarian work. Throughout her career, she's worked in various different countries experiencing war or its aftermath. These include Sudan during the Darfuri genocide, Libya while it was being bombed by NATO, Iraq while ISIS was being pushed out, and most recently, Ukraine. She's negotiated with former militants to get rid of weapons, cleared areas of mines and other explosive threats, and unblocked roads so that other humanitarian organizations can provide aid. No matter where she is or who she's worked with, everything Kupferberg has done has been to save civilian lives. I think her actions speak for themselves and reveal a level of courage that to me seems almost unfathomable. On top of this, Kupferberg is one of few female deminers in the field. She works to inspire and set an example for other women so that they know a career in demining and civilian protection is equally possible for them as it is for any man. I've spent 2 years reading the applications of ETHS alumni who are some of the most interesting and accomplished people I've ever heard of. But Kupferberg has been the one that really showed me what this award is about. Reading about her life and career, her choice to put others before herself no matter the cost, and to look for ways to rebuild and create a better future in a world that can so often feel hopeless, I realized that that is the spirit I want to take with me in my life. I hope that she can inspire you as much as she's inspired me. Please welcome Carly Kupferberg.
Good morning. My life is not conventional. My life is not a little cookie cutter life. Here at ETHS, I wasn't someone that was in chem phys. I took chemistry, I took physics, but I didn't excel in either. And you'd think that I'd have to know those things going out and disarming multiple munitions and airdropped weapons. Well, I do. So I didn't really know what I was going to do with my life. And I went to 4 universities in 4 years. Thank you to our liberal arts programs, I was able to jump from one school to the next. So 4 schools, 4 years, and a master's on top of it, so 5 years in total. When I was about a senior in university, I decided that I wanted to go and work abroad. I had previous experiences working abroad. I'd go on solo trips by myself to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. And when I was about to graduate and walk into the world, I realized that my line of work, you have to have a master's degree. So got that, 1 year done, and off I was, packed up my bags, $7,000 in my pocket, and a big amount of student debt. So basically, I left. I went to Uganda, started there, did a lot of work in child protection, education in emergencies, countering violent extremism. I didn't know that I would be wearing this vest and disarming munitions until I kind of dabbled around a bit and decided that, yeah, this is exactly what I want to do. So I work with agencies all throughout the world. I can't remember all of them, to be completely honest with you. I'd have to have my resume in front of you. But this is the most rewarding career that I've ever had. Did I dream of it? Absolutely not. Is it for women? They tell you no. And when I hear no, that's definitely not a part of my vocabulary. So when I hear no, it's just, to me, find another creative way to get what you want. So if you don't have passion and you don't know what you want to do right now, that's okay. I had no idea I was going to turn up like this. But on the other hand, if you do have a passion and people are telling you you can't accomplish that, just, take it with a grain of salt. You can accomplish anything that you want to accomplish. I'm not military. I am civilian. I am trained to do all the work that a military explosive ordnance disposal personnel person does, but I took the civilian path. So basically, if you don't know what you want to do, it's cool. If you want to switch schools because you don't like it, go for it. If you want to go and travel by yourself, do that. But once you find something, stick to it, because this world is very, very difficult. And it'll push you just as much as you will push it. So as much as you put in is what you will get out. I just recently came back from Ukraine. It was the first conflict that was not engineered by extreme religious conflicts, basically. What I saw there completely changed the way I looked at life. I was training people from off the streets for 1 week to learn to do what I'm doing. And then we did on-the-job training. I had to put all of my confidence in all of the Ukrainians I was working with to do what I took, classes to do for 2 months, and put everything I know in them. And that's the way that I've worked my entire career. So when I work in Mine Action, my job is to build capacity. And the only way I see doing that is by picking individuals that want to do what I do and work with them, make them me. I am a host in these countries. I'm not going to be there forever. So my job is to A, inspire females, and also nationalize my position. I am not meant to be out there forever, and my main goal is wherever I can and wherever possible, I make sure that the national community in which I'm working with gets as much as my attention can, and I build all their capacity so that they can become me. It's a long path. It's a marathon. You'll get knocked down. I've lost a lot of friends in the field that I will never get back, but it's a career path that I chose, and I can't imagine doing anything else. So obviously, cliche, follow your dreams. When someone tells you no, work harder, and just do what you want. Do you. Thanks.
Congratulations to all of our honorees. Let's give them all a round of applause.